The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Hoop Ball DFS Today podcast. I am your host, Mike Apatria, joined by my good buddy Keith Cork here to break down this fantastic, this wonderful, large 10-game slate. March 3rd, nice little Wednesday. How you doing, Keith?
I'm doing well, man. Happy Hump Day, everybody. Hope you're doing well today. It's awesome to be here. Awesome to talk hoops, man.
Exactly, and we're gonna motor, man. We got a big game or a big slate, 10 games to get through, most that we've had, and it feels like quite some time. We've been getting these nice little 6, 7, 8 gamers. We got a big one, a lot of news that we're gonna have to go through. But before we jump into anything, quick shout out to our presenting sponsors, guys. If you haven't been over there, check out mybookie.ag. That's simple. It's mybookie.ag. The number one, the most reputable bookie site, the only one I trust. I don't give my stamp of approval very easily, and my bookie has it. It's that simple, guys. I give all my action to them. And even if I wanted to, hit some table games, if I want to play a little bit of the slots, I'm more of a blackjack guy myself. They have everything over there. It's not just betting on sports. They have a fully fledged casino, and maybe just betting the lines aren't your thing. They got prop bets. They have parlay action. You can do a little bit of everything. And if you sign up, use that promo code HoopBall. That's HOOPBALL on your initial deposit, and you will get it matched up to $1,000, 50%. So you deposit $1,000, you get a free $500 to play with. It's that simple. So guys, go check them out. Mybookie.ag. That promo code is HoopBall. HOOPBALL. All right, man. We're going to jump right into this. We're just going to get right to the nitty gritty. Indiana Pacers traveling to Cleveland. Take on the Cavs here. For the Cavs, Matthew Dellavedova, Andre Drummond, Kevin Love, Larry Nance Jr., all ruled out. And for the Pacers, Jeremy Lamb and Doug McDermott are questionable, while Karis LeVert is still ruled out. And we had the most recent update with TJ Warren. He is not going to be back for a few months, probably the entire season at this rate. 216.5 game total. Pacers favored by 6. Keith, I'll pass it over to you. We'll start with the away team. Let's go with the Pacers here. Who are we looking at?
Yeah, man. Can we just skip these first couple of games now? No, it's there's people that you can play here. It's not my favorite game, the Pacers and the Cavaliers, but Jeremy Lamb, I know he was downgraded yesterday or tonight. Last night, if you're listening to it today, and McDermott's questionable. So we got some people we can play. Malcolm Brogdon at 7,900. Yeah, it's kind of all about the price point there with him. I just think it's a little less than some other guys, are priced, and it's a little less than Brogdon should be. And I like him here against Colin Sexton and Darius Garland up against Sexland. I think he'll have a pretty decent game. Not my favorite play, but I don't mind going there. I also like Miles Turner at 6,000. Just another guy's just priced too low. Matchup and pace just not quite ideal, so not exactly a guy I'm reaching for, but I don't mind landing on him if you do. And then the guy that's probably my favorite Pacers play is TJ McConnell, 5,900. 40 DraftKings points. He's got upside to get that much, and his price is still pretty pedestrian. It hasn't come up quite enough yet, so that's probably my favorite play on the Pacers side of the ball.
Right there with you. I think those three guys, you could throw in some bonus. You said it perfectly. I think, they're good. They're great. The matchup's fine. Price tag's fine. Nothing overwhelming, nothing that pops off the page, but they're solid value. That being Brogdon. McConnell definitely has that 40-point upside. It's a great matchup, 5,900. I'm probably with you. It's probably my favorite option. I would throw in, even Aaron Holiday as a dumpster dive, value play if you need it at 3,600. Played 22 minutes in that last one. Put up 25 DK points. So wouldn't even mind looking that way. So it's gonna be the cheaper guards for me over there. But you talked about Colin Sexton on the other side of it. Defensively, very similar price tag to Brogdon. Push comes to shove. Who do you see yourself playing more?
I'm just not a Sexton guy. I watched him play at Alabama, so I just lean Brogdon just because that's my personal preference. I don't fault you if you go Sexton, but Brogdon's my guy in that matchup.
All right. Anybody else here on this Cleveland side? Or are you ready to keep it moving?
Yeah, I could see he's playing some Osman as long as he's playing. And it's a great price for a guy that's gotten at least 20 minutes. He's only been playing 20 minutes, which is a little concerning. So hopefully he can see about 25 minutes here, about 5,800. I definitely don't mind going to Jetty Osman. And then another dumpster dive option here on the Cavs side of the ball would be Javel Mcgee. 3,500. It's a dumpster dive option. He's getting about 15 minutes, but that's really all he needs to hit value at that really low price tag. So I don't mind going there just to round out your rosters. Not my favorite play. I don't really like much about this game. I probably won't play many of these guys at all, but if I need some filler, those are the guys I'd look for.
Yeah, I just don't see myself having any Cleveland. I do like that McGee call, especially knowing that they play big. He should, like you said, see probably closer to 20 minutes in this one. And McGee being a great point per minute guy doesn't need a lot just to rack up 3-4 blocks real fast. So I like that call. Good call, man. We'll keep it moving though. Next game, Utah Jazz travel to Philly, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. For the Sixers, Tobias Harris is questionable. And then for the Jazz, nothing to note. For the game total, don't have one. For the spread, we don't have one. It's that simple. Pass it over to you. Looking at this Utah team, this is probably going to be one of the more entertaining games of the night outside of Narrative Street that we'll get to in a few minutes. But I'm looking forward to this game. It's just from an actual basketball standpoint. It's two, very good defensive teams that are going to paddle it out. But does that make it, a little less appetizing for us in the DFS community, knowing that this is going to be pretty much two defensive powerhouses battling it out?
Yes. Moving on. No, it is going to be a great game. I'm excited to watch it, man. This is one I'm definitely going to tune into. I usually stick to the Bulls game and then watch one other game, and I'm going to try to tune into this game as my other one. But it's a good basketball game for DFS and for fantasy purposes. Not necessarily great. On the Jazz side, there are a couple of guys that I don't mind going to. Joe Ingles, 5,600. He threw up a dud in their last one, and he's usually better when he's starting. But even if he's coming off the bench, he's got a solid role in this team. There's a couple of guys that are a few $100 cheaper that I like more in that price range, but I don't mind going to Joe Ingles. The other guy that I'd be looking at would be Royce O'Neal, 4,900. He just makes for good filler in a lineup. He's put up 25 plus DraftKings points in 2 of the last 3 games, and he's only $4,900. So more filler guys on the Jazz side of the ball from me. What do you got on the Jazz side?
I don't got much here, man. I think that they're all priced appropriately. If I was looking anywhere, it would probably be, I look at Royce O'Neal. I just imagine him having to play heavy minutes in this one. Not a great point per minute type guy, but, if he's looking at upward in a competitive game, 37, 38 minutes, he can almost trip into fall into value at that point. So I'd look at Royce O'Neal, maybe a little bit of Mike Conley, but, Mitchell, too priced out for me, 8,500. Gobert, it's just going to be an overall tough matchup. I mean, you can't imagine either one of these centers having a tough matchup where it's got other options. We got 10 games. We don't need to go here. So I just don't see myself, gravitating towards this Utah team too much. Sliding over to the Philly side of the ball, though, I kind of gave my piece already on Embiid. I do, 10-4. We're paying a premium. The dude's absolutely worth it, but this is one of the tougher matchups for opposing centers. It's that simple. But Tobias Harris sits out again. I don't mind going back to the Shake Milton well. I talked about it on the last show. He's just their super utility knife. Regardless of what position's out. Yes, I know he doesn't play power forward, but he gets all this trickle-down usage. He's one of the main guys that they're going to need to see take some of those shot attempts. He's going to play consistent minutes. I like him in his bench role. So I can see myself having some Shake Milton at 5K. Outside of that, I don't even see myself going anywhere else.
Yeah, man. I'm right there with you. These first 2 games are pretty much just kind of staying away from. There's a lot of better players later on, but we do have to keep an eye on that Tobias Harris news. If he does end up sitting out, like you said, Shake Milton, it feels like a must play for Shake Milton. Another guy I'd look at if you want to save a little bit more salary and still wanted to get some exposure if Tobias Harris is out would be Furkan Korkmaz. Great name, but also he's got a great price too, 3,800, and just a cheaper option. He went off last game. I don't necessarily expect him to have that good of a game, but at 3,800, he doesn't have to put too many points to really hit that value. And even if Tobias Harris does play, he's an okay guy to take some stabs at GPPs. I think I'd also throw in some stuff. Seth Curry. He's had a few duds, but he's gonna get back to where he was. I mean, he had a 1 for 13 line a couple of games ago. He's not going to shoot that poorly again. So, he's going to play stronger. He's an even stronger play if Harris sits. So another guy I'd throw out there. But this all really hinges on Tobias Harris sitting. If Tobias Harris doesn't sit, I'm staying away.
All right. We'll keep it moving to the third and final 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game, the one that is going to cause some mass confusion amongst a lot of the DFS community. Detroit Pistons traveling to Toronto, take on the Raptors in this one. For the injury report, buckle up. Jeremy Grant is questionable. Blake Griffin, Killian Hayes, Frank Jackson, Jahlil Okafor, DeLon Wright, all ruled out for the Pistons. And for the Raptors, OG, Malachi Flynn, Patrick McCaw, Fred VanVleet, and Pascal Siakam all rolled out health and safety protocols. So they are going to, at this moment, attempt to play with 8 players. They're going to try to suit up. Obviously, if anything happens to any of these players, whether it's an inconclusive test, anything like that last minute, this game will get tossed. So there's going to be a lot of exposure. Just monitor. It's a 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. We'll have the news. Just keep your eye on everything throughout the day. But we'll start off with this Pistons team, Keith. I'll pass it over to you. I mean, these, for the most part, similar bodies that have been out. Not much to expect, I guess, from this Pistons team. I guess most of the value that we're going to be looking at is at the other side of the ball. But there's still some guys that we could look at over here. So I'll pass it. I'm talking too much.
No worries. I agree with you. You're saying all the right things, my man. So keep talking. No problem. But no, I agree with you. You know, there's some people we can look at here. You know, it's, again, I think I referred to it before a week ago that a team was playing against the B squad. I think it was the Thunder. And this time it's the Pistons. They're playing against Toronto's kind of B squad, which isn't necessarily a bad team still, but yeah, there's more opportunity there for these guys. A big thing is going to be whether or not Jeremy Grant plays. You know, if he's questionable right now, if he doesn't play, then I like some of these guys a lot more. But if he does play, I'll probably stay away entirely, to be honest with you. I do see myself playing maybe a little bit of Mason Plumlee at 6,800. I just don't know who the heck the Raptors are going to play on the other side of the ball at center. They're not going to have Aaron Baines. They're not going to have Boucher. So, you know, who's going to play center? Yuta Nabi, maybe Stanley Johnson. I have no idea. So Mason Plumlee seems like an okay, solid play at 6,800, playing against some people that maybe aren't supposed to be playing that position. The other guys I would look at if Jeremy Grant's out would be Josh Jackson, 6,200. You know, it's just simple. If Jeremy Grant's not playing, Josh Jackson's in. He's going to have sky high usage. If Grant plays, I'd only consider him for GPPs. The other guy I look at again, you know, if Jeremy Grant sits, Sadiq Bey, 5,700. And you can make a case for any of these Pistons guys, really, but those are the top 3 guys I'd be looking at. This is Plumlee, Jackson, and Bey.
I'm with you on the Jackson. I don't mind Plumlee. 68, we're starting to pay a premium for him with a lot of centers on this slate, but you're right. Toronto's not going to have much of an answer. I think I could be mistaken, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I think Boucher, is he... nope, you're right.
I could be wrong too. There was a lot of O's on this DraftKings slate that were not O's, so I was trying to cross check. So I might have gotten something mixed up there. So let me take
it's confusing. Listen.
He does have an O next to his name, but let's see if it's
the injury report. The official injury report as of 8:30. We recorded this at about 10:30 right now Eastern Standard Time, night before the slate, like we always do. As of 8:30, injury report. He is not listed on it. It's OG, Siakam, VanVleet are the main starters who are listed, main pieces, and then obviously Malachi Flynn, but not a major piece that we need to be too concerned with. So I'm going to assume he's going to be available. But again, I led off with the news at the beginning of this. This is probably going to be the most confusing matchup and the most confusing game on the slate for a lot of DFS players. We got to monitor this news, keep your eye on it, and follow it closely. That's simple. But I'm with you. I think that we can definitely look at Josh Jackson, and I have my eye on Dennis Smith Jr. a little bit too. Just you know, playing that solid role at 4,900 right now. It's a fair price tag. Knowing that, you know, Fred VanVleet, he's not the defensive guy. It's more Kyle Lowry's probably more the lockdown guy than VanVleet, but this is not the same Raptors team. Their whole defense, everything's gonna be different for them. Like you said, B squad means that we could take advantage of it. But slide it over to the Raptors side of the ball. I just, I guess we'll go off of what we think's happening. We still have no idea realistically, but let's go forward. Just assuming, you know, it's the main guys. VanVleet, Siakam, OG are out. Who can we look at?
Yeah, I mean, definitely look at Norman Powell, 6,700. I mean, he feels like just a lock and play. He's just going to have all the opportunity in the world, and he's got a pretty low price, 6,700. I mean, it's a little pricey, but it's pretty fair. The other guys you can look at over there in Toronto, my top guys, I should say, are Terence Davis, 3,400. He's averaging 0.89 DK points per minute this season. You have to figure he gets even more usage with some of these guys sidelined. So, he's looking at about 26.7 DK points if he gets 30 minutes, even if he doesn't have that increased usage. So at 3,400, I'll definitely go there. Nabi is the other guy I'd look at, 3,100. He's a guy who's averaging 0.79 DK points per minute. So he's on pace for about 23.5 DK points if he gets near 30 minutes. And he's $300 less than Davis. So those are the two guys I'd mainly be looking at. But there are certainly other guys you could play as well. But Norman Powell seems the obvious choice to me.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Powell. He's just been a scoring machine for this team. He's always been shooting at a pretty high clip. Struggled early on, but this is a guy that plays the wing position and shoots almost 50% from the field. So he's going to be pretty safe for cash more often than not. And again, Kyle Lowry, I think at 8,100, fantastic spot as well. Can't go wrong with him. Knowing that there's no VanVleet, knowing that there's no Siakam, a lot of the offense is going to have to flow through him, not just on the assist front, but he should be looking at close to 18 shot attempts, 15 shot attempts in this one, which is usually more than what he's normally taken. I agree with you on Terence Davis. I wouldn't be shocked if it's either probably going to be him, Bembry, if not both, drawing the start. I don't know what this Toronto team's going to do. They've been playing a little bit more of Bembry lately just for that defensive aspect, more or less when OG was out, but played 23 minutes in the last one. And has at least 20 DK points in 2 out of the last 3 games, but he's played at least 20 minutes. So 3,700, wouldn't mind taking a stab at Bembry as well. It's going to be tough, though. We will have that news for that starting lineup, though, and that will make the decisions a little bit easier for us. So keep your eye on it. And if you're not already, go check out that DFS pass, guys. I mean, you can jump in the Discord. You can get all this information from our pros. Every night we have at least 1 or 2 of our pros in that lobby for you guys, answering questions, handing out that news. So follow along. Jump in there. Head over to hoop-ball.com. We'll keep it moving. The juice, man. The sauce, as the kids would say. That's what this game is. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time game. Brooklyn Nets traveling to Houston. If you don't love narratives, you're in the wrong industry, man. It's that simple. This is the sauce. This is the juice. This is what everybody kind of had circled on their calendar, waited for the Nets. Just Kevin Durant, Spencer Dinwiddie, both ruled out. Jeff Green and Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot are doubtful, while Reggie Perry's ruled out. For the Rockets, Eric Gordon, Daniel House are questionable, while Kevin Porter Jr. in the G League absolutely burning people. Christian Wood, David Nwaba, Kenyon Martin Jr., Rodion Kurix, Dante Exum, all ruled out. So I guess I'll take the hard one, man. I'll take Brooklyn. I'll take it off your plate. Just get the hard one out of the way. James Harden. I guess we could play that guy. It's going to be okay. High salary, man. I don't know if we can do it. $11K. It's going to be tough. It's James Harden going against the Rockets. I don't think we need to say much here. Sign me up. I'm good to go. That's it. Keep it moving.
Yeah, 11K. I mean, he's chalking till further notice, obviously, right? I like Kyrie Irving as a great GPP pivot at 9,400, but Harden's obviously the guy you're going to go to in all your cash games, and he's the smarter play, obviously. The other guy I'd look at on the Nets, though, DeAndre Jordan, 5,700. I've been targeting the Rockets center position pretty heavily, and I just think it's a chance to do it again. I know people like to knock on DJ. He's not great. He's older. Blah blah blah. All true. He's not necessarily the best guy in real life, but for fantasy purposes, until Christian Wood comes back, I mean, that Rockets defense down low interior is garbage, and so I don't mind playing some DJ at 5,700. This is a GPP play only, obviously.
Yeah, I've been all over DJ. It's this simple. When Jeff Green's not playing, that's their thing. They do not want to play DeAndre Jordan 30-plus minutes, but they don't have Kevin Durant to play at center here and there. They don't have Jeff Green to play at center here and there. They basically have no choice but to roll out him and Claxton. I mean, we've even seen a couple of lineups where I think Bruce Brown did his best Chuck Hayes impression, who was playing center. But that's not something that's going to be feasible for them in the long term. The one thing that worries me is this matchup where, like I just said, Brooklyn doesn't want to play big if they don't have to. Houston doesn't need to play big if they don't want to. Outside of Justin Batten, they're not very equipped either. So I do like him. I'm just, like you said, I think you said it perfectly. GPPs only. If this was any other matchup, I would say you could load him up on cash too at 5,700 as long as Jeff Green's doubtful like he is. Claxton came out, blew the doors off. He's a great point per minute guy. You could chase that if you want. I don't mind it. 3,300. It's not like you had a massive price increase or anything, but you need a lot to go right for him, especially defensively. Just not going to get a boatload of minutes or anything like that. Anybody else over here on the Brooklyn side? You're looking at the front court. You're looking at Harden, Kyrie. I like the pivot, like you said, in GPPs. Not going to really chase that Bruce Brown game myself, but
yeah, I'm not. I'm also not chasing any of this stuff, honestly. Yeah, James Harden's pretty much probably going to be it for me, and then like I said, it's Kyrie Irving and some GPPs. That's pretty much it, and then I'll take some stabs at DeAndre, but that's it.
Who are we running it back with, though? Because I know that if we're going to get some James Harden, we want this game to last all 4 quarters. We want this to be a tight 120 to 120 type-ish game, one of those good, juicy ones. So can we run it back with any of these guys on the other side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I do like John Wall. I like John Wall at 8,300. If he's playing, he's in a fantastic paced up spot here. It's a big game. I mean, I think, he's still got stuff to prove too. He's thrown up a dud or two this season, but, I'm not going to him cash, but I would not be afraid to load him up in GPPs at all. I think it's a good spot for him. Victor Oladipo, same thing. All the reasons mentioned for the other guy, but he's a little cheaper at 7,900. So you need to save that salary. I'd go there. I'd imagine one or two of these guys in a lot of GPP lineups, to be honest with you. So I don't think their ownership is necessarily going to be low, but I think that it's going to be a good spot for them. So I like it a lot. And then the one guy I'd look at that's more of a cash play, and you could also even load him up in GPPs, would be Sean Tate. And that's only because, Waba's out, David Nwaba, Eric Gordon and Daniel Hollis are questionable. So who's going to play that wing position for them? It's going to be a lot of Sean Tate. He's going to get all the opportunity in the world, I think. And I think that's a great play. The other guy I would look at it in the wing position would be Sterling Brown, who's a lot cheaper, obviously. But if you need to save that salary, that's who I'd go to there. That's dependent on these guys sitting, though. If Eric Gordon, House are in, or even if one of those guys are in, I'd probably stay away from the wing position.
I think you hit it perfectly, man. All these guards are in play. Oladipo, John Wall, they're both priced fairly. But like you said, if you're running it back, if you're looking at the game stack, this is, we talked about Brogdon, 7,900, Oladipo, 7,900. People are going to have to make some decisions on this slate, and they're probably going to lean towards that game stack. Everyone's going to, like you said, have some Harden. It's probably going to be at least 80% owned in most tournaments, including a lot of the GPPs. I wouldn't doubt it. So you got to imagine people are going to be looking to stack up with some Oladipo. So that's kind of where I think guys like Brogdon come in, just going to fall under the radar, just much lower ownership. I could definitely see myself having some shares. I do like the Tate call. You hit that one perfectly. If these wings are out, they're going to need him to play 35, 38 minutes. Those are those games where we kind of see a 30-point DK point floor for Tate with that 35, 36 DK point ceiling. Nice, comfortable guy. So I wouldn't mind going to Tate. And then you touched on it. Sterling Brown is probably the guy I would look to if I want some value. If we get the news that these wings are out, no Eric Gordon, no Nwaba, possibly no House, it's just going to be a boatload of wing minutes, and they got to go somewhere. They're not going to sit here and try to play John Wall and Victor Oladipo 38 minutes unless this game is absolutely tight and they feel like they can win it. Even then, I doubt they want to sit there and do that this close to the All-Star break. Most teams are just trying to hang on and survive right now, just to get there and let their guys recover. But we'll keep it moving. Next game, Charlotte Hornets traveling to Minnesota, take on the Timberwolves. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game in this one. I think we actually have a game total for this one, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on. Hopefully I didn't talk too soon. I did. I wasted a good surprise on that one. So unfortunately, no game total. But for the injury report, we do have that. Gordon Hayward's questionable. Still dealing with that right hand contusion. Devontae Graham ruled out. Cody Zeller is questionable. Probably on the better half of doubtful. And for the Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell still out, along with Malik Beasley. Mellow Ball, 9,200. The guy's price just keeps going up, and rightfully so. Where do you have him pegged tonight amongst the stars?
Yeah, I can't go there. I think I'm full. I'm fading Melo completely. 9,200 is just too steep for me. If Hayward is out, I don't mind going there. I just think there's better plays on the slate. Like you said, there's 10 games. I don't think we need to go there. I'm not personally. Don't fault you if you do. But some people I will look at though would be Scary Terry Rozier, 7,900. As long as Devontae Graham's out, Scary Terry, he's in play, and he gets nice paced up matchup here again, and he's going to go. He might be able to go off for a bunch of points, so I like that play a lot. The other guy I look at for GPPs, PJ Washington, 6,700. I can't trust him in cash games. I think we were talking about this a little bit in Discord. He's a little bit up and down, quite a bit up and down, and you never know which side of the coin it's going to be on. So makes him a perfect GPP play. And then the last guy I'd add here would be Malik Monk, 5,700. Without Devontae Graham playing, he's been getting those other extra guard minutes, and he's just been playing solid. He's a solid play, fine cash guy. He's more filler though. I'm not necessarily reaching for him. And those would be the three guys I'd look at Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same vein with LaMelo. Like I just don't love the price tag, but this dude just feels like, especially in these up-paced matchups with little defense, a banging 50. So I don't mind going to him. Do I end up landing on him completely? GPPs, if I'm playing, 100 lineups, I might have them in, 10%. I'm not going to go overboard, but I could see myself having some LaMelo for sure. And then you touched on the white hot Malik Monk. This dude's just been shooting the lights out of the gym. It's that simple. He's been one of the hottest three-point shooters this season, and he's been seizing his opportunity. Somebody goes down, he's been taking the usage, taking the shot attempts. And it's not only with Gordon Hayward out. Even the games where Gordon Hayward's playing, he's still chucking double-digit, 13 to 15 shot attempts every given night. So I don't mind going back to him. Like you said, though, he's getting up there in price, almost a 6K, so I'm not going to make him like a core piece or a foundational piece of my lineups if I land on him. I don't mind it whatsoever. Sliding over on Minnesota. No Russell, no Beasley. We kind of saw how this team looked with all this usage getting trickled down and distributed. Anybody you're targeting over here?
Not anybody I'm targeting. There's a couple. I wouldn't say targeting, but Karl-Anthony Towns. I like him as a GPP pivot. I don't think anyone's going to really be owning him. He's 10,000. He's a little pricey, but man, he's worth it. I mean, he's gonna have a ton of usage, and he hits a pretty good matchup here against the Charlotte Hornets. So not necessarily the best interior defensive team. So I don't mind going to Towns and GPPs. I'm not going to play him in cash. For the most solid play on the T-Wolves side, though, would be Anthony Edwards to me, 6,900. Dude's just been tearing it up, and without Malik Beasley, he served out suspension, and D'Angelo Russell, with the injury, he's just been lighting the world on fire. And we've seen the highlights, we've seen the big dunks, but hopefully he can put up a good game. He's been pretty solid though. So 6,900 is a pretty good price tag for somebody that's got that kind of usage, I think.
To be honest, man, I have not had too many shares of Edwards, and that may just be my own stubbornness, where I feel like I'm jumping on the train a little bit too late. I just, I regret it. I mean, he's been playing great. You hit it. He really kind of turned the corner. He just looks more confident, and that's the main thing with rookies, and just kind of getting more comfortable in the offense. And I think with some of these bodies going down, instead of feeling like he's forcing his shots, he's kind of understanding that this team needs him to shoot now more than ever. And that, having that ability and that green light and, being able to take 20 shot attempts, that's big. And his team trusts him. You could just tell that. You could just see it on the court. So I'm with you. I think 6,900 is a fair price tag. And with all that being said, I probably still won't hop on the train, but I don't mind that price tag whatsoever. And then you hit on Towns. Push him to shove, different positions, point per dollar. I probably prefer LaMelo over Towns for $800 cheaper. And that feels weird saying, something I never thought I would say. Just looking at them, they both just, feel like two guys that are comfortably 50 every given night. And give me the guy that's a little bit cheaper, at 800 cheaper. It's not a definitive answer. It's kind of splitting hairs. They're both excellent plays, but I just kind of leaning more ball as of now. And then I'm still just waiting to see what this team can do at power forward. They'll never figure it out. It doesn't take an NBA coach to realize that Jaden McDaniels is your best power forward on your team. He's probably the guy you should be starting. He allows you to spread your offense. He's your best corner three-point shooter on the season. He's also one of your best rim protectors. So play the guy power forward. Makes more sense. You ready to move on to the next one?
Let's do it.
Chicago Bulls. Your Chicago Bulls.
The Bulls.
The Bulls. Traveling to New Orleans, taking on the Pelicans. Every time I say New Orleans, I feel like I just have to get like a Louisiana accent in there, and I don't know if I'm doing it. Yeah, New Orleans. Yeah. For the Bulls, Chandler Hutchison, Devin Dotson ruled out, as well as Otto Porter Jr. Lauri Markkanen is doubtful. nearing his return, it seems, but they're just going to wait till after the All-Star break is my best bet. And no real news for the Pelicans. They are good to go, fully healthy in this one. So I'll let you take it, man. Talk about your Bulls.
Well, first, the game total, I think 236.5 and
Ooh,
the
good
Pelicans.
call, my fault.
Yeah, it's okay. 5.5 favorites. And I just wanted to bring that up because I think it's an insult after my Bulls just took these Pelicans down by 13 points their last game on February 10th. But I digress. It should be a competitive game, should be a fun one. But for my Bulls, I don't know if I can necessarily go to Zach LaVine. I don't mind people going there. I think he's a solid play. I think he's fine and a lock to really put up a lot of shots and hopefully hit them all. And it's totally fine, but I'm not going to go there at his price. But I am interested in Coby White at 6,500. He's just on a heater, and he just really thrives on these heaters. And you just have to ride him until the wheels fall off. But he hasn't gotten up less than 16 shot attempts in the last 4 games, and I don't see that changing. And as long as he's hitting those shots, man, he's going to hit value even at 6,500, which is a pretty big price tag, honestly. But he hits a few more of those shots, and he's just going to blow it away. The other guys I'm looking at for GPPs, I love the Wendell Carter Jr. play. I love that just because he put up 240 plus DK points in back-to-back games when he first came back, and he's been just having a terrible go of it the last few games. So he's going to have low ownership. But I love it for GPPs. He's going to have somebody play defense on Zion Williamson and Steven Adams. So I think he's going to get plenty of minutes in this one. But my favorite Bulls play, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I really don't like the guy, but Denzel Valentine, 3,800. He's just getting minutes again. Getting 20, 22 minutes and getting shot attempts. And when he plays, he puts up points. He puts up stats. So 3,800 for Denzel Valentine is a pretty good price for what he's doing right now.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to trust a guy like Valentine when you get a high total like this one, and we're expecting a pretty competitive game. Those are the games that we want to target more or less than the garbage time games. Valentine is pretty much an established player, role player at this point for this Bulls team. He's been hanging around for, I think he was drafted in 17, 18, was it?
Yeah, it's been a few years, several years. It's hard to tell because he's been injured for like half of it. So
yeah, it's true. I'm with you though. LaVine probably too priced up for me. I just prefer, like we just talked about, LaMelo Ball for only $300 cheaper. Don't mind Coby White. When push comes to shove, the guy guarding him might make my decision a little bit harder for only $300 more. But you're right. When Coby White's on a heater, it's something we want to take advantage of. Close game, high usage. The only thing that you have to worry about with Coby White is whether or not he's going to play himself off the floor in a competitive game. If this game stays close and he's just doing the right things, the shots falling, sign me up. We're looking at probably a 35-plus DK point night out of Coby White. So definitely don't mind looking at him. I didn't really have Valentine circled, but I will circle him now. I do like that call. So I'll be honest with me. It was just really Coby White for me. I don't mind Wendell Carter Jr. You hit on it. Past 2 games aren't fair. Don't take those ones serious when it gets to the Joker. Anybody gets cooked by Joker. That just happens. The game prior to that, it was against Phoenix. Great team defense, slows down the pace, really tries to take people out of the game. So it doesn't shock me that he had 2 bad games in those one. This is a nice little bounce back spot for him. So good call on that one as well. Slide over to the Norlands side of the ball. I touched on it. Lonzo Ball, 6,800. He just is a completely different player this year, man. And I love watching him play now. He's confident, and it feels like whenever those trade rumors first started getting brought up, he said, yeah, sure, hold my beer. And had to go out there and show people exactly what he could do and who, the real big brother is in the Ball family. Nonetheless, he's getting outplayed by his younger brother, and they're both fantastic options on this slate. So 6,800. I think I'll end up with more Ball than I would Coby White. Love the matchup. Dropped, I think it was 43 DK points on them earlier in the season. So sign me up there. And we talked about the front court. I don't mind even looking at the other side of the ball, and Steven Adams too, 5,200. Never going to get 30 to 35 minutes necessarily, but that's a fair price tag for a guy 5,200 in a good matchup like this one. Worse you could do. That's it for me over here.
Yeah, I don't mind those calls at all. Those are all fantastic calls. I personally, I don't mind going to BI, Brandon Ingram, 8,400. He played nearly 40 minutes in the last one, and Jeremy Grant just had a career night against the same defense, and I just feel like he's in a good spot to really pop off here. Bit of a priced up price tag there, but I don't mind it against a weak Bulls defense. Lonzo Ball, like you said everything there. I don't have to add anything. JJ Redick though is the other guy I have here for 3,100. Kira Lewis Jr. seems to have fallen out of the rotation, and hasn't been playing, and it looks like Redick's back in to the rotation. So 3,100 for this guy, and he's been hitting his shots recently. I like that play a lot, actually, especially against, again, a weak Bulls defense, unfortunately. So I like a little JJ.
I would never go wrong with JJ if we feel confident in the minutes. So you're right, though. I didn't really notice. I saw they had that big game in the last one, hit a couple of those big shots, and that's what JJ is. If we know he's playing at least 20 to 26 minutes, something like that, you definitely lock him in at 3K, 3,100 in dumpster dive territory. A lot worse we can do than that. All right, man, we got 4 games left. We'll keep it moving. Atlanta Hawks traveling to Orlando, take on the Magic. In this one, we do have a game total. We do have a spread. 225 game total. Atlanta favored by 4 in this one. After that, there's only one left. No more spreads in game total. We have 4 out of 10 games the night before. As far as the injury report goes, for the Hawks, not getting released. Second half of the back-to-back. We'll have to wait on them. I'll probably have most of it in the morning. First injury report that comes out around 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. For the Magic, Cole Anthony, James Ennis, Markelle Fultz, Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac all rolled out, while Evan Fournier is questionable with that left groin strain. Pass it over to you. Let's talk about this Hawks team. New coach, new team, who this? Looks like there's just a lot of rumbling going on in that locker room. A lot of weird things coming out about things that I guess Lloyd Pierce was saying, affecting his players' confidence is kind of losing that locker room. And I don't know if this necessarily is going to change too much. I think a lot of the damage has been done, but what can we expect from this new Hawks team?
Yeah, I don't think anything is going to change too much. Hopefully it changes for the better for all those guys, and wish them the best. But Trae Young's in a good spot here. It's a good matchup, 9,600. I really like that price tag. I like the spot against a team that's playing Michael Carter Williams at the point guard right now for 30 minutes or so. I don't think that's a bad play at all. And then the other guy I like on the Hawks is Bogdan Bogdanovich. I was listening a little bit to the game earlier tonight. He's only priced at 3,200 on DK. His name was just popping up left and right, and we have to keep an eye on that minutes limit. But if that minutes limit comes up to 20, 25 minutes, then 3,200 for Bogdan. I'm going there all day. I'm liking that more than JJ Redick I called before. But if he's only getting a 15-minute time playing limit again, then maybe not. I probably won't go there. So those are 2 guys I'm really looking at on the Hawks.
Yeah, I think it's kind of I would probably actually almost assume that he just sits. It being the second half of a back-to-back, coming off of, I think he was out 6-8 weeks. He was shelved. It was like a knee fracture. It was something crazy. He had a little crack in his knee somewhere. So I wouldn't shock if he says great price tag though. Even if he's playing 20 minutes, less than 15 to 20, we'll take that. At that price tag, you touched on it with JJ, same thing. I'd prefer him over JJ if we get that minutes limit is anywhere in the relatively close range where we can actually consider him. Outside of him, I don't mind Trae Young. I prefer Trae Young over LaVine. But again, when it comes to LaMelo, I think LaMelo will draw the higher ownership. So look at Trae Young as that GPP pivot off of LaMelo if you want to go that way. And I don't mind looking at John Collins in this one. I actually do prefer Clint Capella. I like them both. I just think they're both at very fair price tags. Capella at 81, but John Collins should have a pretty good matchup going against this team. They're going to try to run out from Camino out there. We know that he can't handle a ton of minutes at this moment. So, this is a great matchup for power forwards that kind of come in here. And Collins, 6,900. That's a great price tag for him. So I don't mind looking at him. He's not like a foundational play of mine, but probably one of my favorite plays in this game. Sliding over to the other side of the ball, we know we like to target this Hawks team. Vucevic has been doing his very best impression of, a modern-day Shaquille O'Neal playing in the Magic uniform. He's just been an absolute beast and on an absolute tear this season. Maybe just wants to go to a different team. He's just showcasing himself at this point. But 10-3, a lot of guys to spend up on. Could you see yourself spending up on Big Vuk?
Yeah, 10-3. I mean, we were paying like what 8,800 to low nines for this guy not that long ago, and that was totally fine, and that was a steal. But 10-3 is just getting too pricey for me. Same with LaMelo, just kind of prices me out. It's a fine play. It's not a bad play. He's going to go off. He's going to have his points, but it's just too much salary to commit to one guy. But some guys I do like on the Magic though. Terence Ross, 6,300. I like him if Fournier sits. It's a great matchup, obviously, for him. If Fournier plays, I'd probably go the Fournier route instead. But something tells me Fournier's not going to play. He's just been sitting randomly this year. I don't know. Like you said, the Magic seem like they're kind of like in limbo here. It's like they're not a very good team. They're losing games. Vucevic probably wants out. Fournier, I know I've heard rumblings of him wanting out. So I don't know if Fournier plays. If he doesn't play, then I like Terence Ross. But the guy I like most is Michael Carter Williams, MCW, 5,000. It just feels like chalk. I mean, he's going to get all the minutes of point guard he can handle against a weak Trae Young defensive guard here. So MCW, 5,000. I'm locking that in for sure.
Yeah, I was all over him in that last game against Dallas, and it paid off well for me. It's just he produces. He's just able to kind of contribute in multiple different ways. He's long. He's got the length, so he's going to be able to get you a steal or two here and there. Even chips in a block once in a while. It comes down to a lot of it. He does make the dumb mistakes that we hate to see amongst our point guards that we play, including those turnovers, poor shooting. That's part of it. But you can't go wrong with any guard getting matched up alongside of Trae Young. That's a wonderful thing to see. Should be able to take advantage of that and play some bully ball with his size. So 5,600, I'm cool with it. It's my favorite player on the Magic as well. And you hit it with Vucevic. I kind of feel the exact same way. Just too many guys to spend up on. I don't see myself going that way. If I'm spending all the way up, it's probably going to go to Harden, or the guy that we'll get to in about 2 games. Outside of that, I already talked about LaMelo and a few of these other guys that we'll probably even talk about in a minute. So I just don't see myself having the capital to get to Vucevic. Moving on. Next game, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time game. OKC Thunder traveling to Dallas to take on my Mavericks. Not really my Mavericks. I guess they're kind of Mark Cuban's Mavericks, but we could share. We'll be friends. For the Mavs, Luka Doncic and Willie Cauley-Stein both being considered questionable. Obviously, some massive news to keep an eye on while Josh Green is in the G League. Can't wait for that kid to come up. For the Thunder, not going to mention Trevor Reese's name. We just won't do that anymore. George Hill still out, as well as Hamidou Diallo. He is going to miss at least the next 2 games. It was mentioned then he would be reevaluated. So no game total, no spread in this one. Still waiting on that major news before we can do anything. But looking at the Thunder, who could we play?
Yeah, I don't mind going to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, 8,800. It's fine. Other players I like more on the slate, so I'm not reaching for it, but I don't mind that play. People I do like, though, more so for personally, is Al Horford, 6,300. As long as he plays, I just think, the Mavs are super weak down low, and even if Willie Cauley-Stein doesn't play, it makes it even better. But I just don't know how they're going to stop Al Horford if he actually suits up and plays. That's the biggest thing with him. So got to keep an eye out on that. The other guy I like is Theo Maledon, 4,800. His main value is steals, and assuming that Luka's going to play, I can't see the Mavericks are playing, Luka's playing. I can't see him sitting, but he might sit in this one. But I'm assuming he's playing. If Luka does play, Maledon's main value is steals, and he's likely going to be guarding Luka. So I like him at 4,800. I think he's going to put up some pretty good value there at that price tag.
Right there with you. I think Al Horford, if we know that this is going to be a game where we can get 4 quarters out of Horford, he's just a great price tag. 6,300 is too cheap for him. He's kind of, ever since he had that baby, that's what we need. We need him to have another baby. Go have another baby, Al Horford. We need some more good games out of you like that. That nice little 4 or 5 game spurt where you're just absolutely torching people. So yeah, I'll look at him. I won't end up with any Shai. 8,800 is too expensive for me. Just again, keep talking about it. A few other guys, just a couple $100 more that I prefer. So I don't see myself getting to too much Shai. I wouldn't hate it if you wanted to play some Bazley, but it'd only be in GPPs. You can't trust him in cash. Just way, way too up and down. But mostly Horford for me. On the Dallas side of the ball, I mean, it's simple. If Luka is in, fantastic play, fantastic matchup. I'll be playing James Harden over him, but I won't knock it if you wanted to kind of go off of it, do the GPP pivot, and play Luka. It's a fantastic play. If Luka sits, though, I think that's kind of what we need to talk about. That would be the elephant in the room. We already know what this Mavs team looks like for the most part when everybody's healthy. But if he sits, where are you looking?
I think most people say KP. I don't like that price tag. It's just a little too expensive for me. I'm not really looking at Porzingis at all. He is going to get more usage, more shots up if Doncic doesn't play. But it's just not my play. But I do like Jalen Brunson, 5,300. I think he's going to have more usage especially if Doncic sits. But even if he doesn't, he's solid, and he's just been having solid games. And he's a bit cheaper, a couple $100 cheaper. And I was talking earlier about some of the 5,600, 5,700 salary guys that I liked. This guy's a little cheaper, and he's still solid. And so I think he's just a really good play for Brunson. Dorian Finney-Smith is the other guy I look at, 4,500. I'd only look at it in cash because he doesn't contribute a whole lot, but he's getting so many minutes for that salary. 4,500 for a guy that plays 32, 34 minutes a night. Sign me up for that, honestly. Again, even if Doncic doesn't play, I like that play a lot. So those are the two guys I'd look at besides Doncic. If Doncic plays, I think, like you said, I'd play Harden over him. So not necessarily going there automatically, but he is a good play for sure.
I absolutely love Brunson. If Doncic sits, I'd lock him in. He would just be a free square for me. Anytime Doncic sits, Brunson draws that starter point, and you could just pretty much bang in 30 DK points with upside if even more. So I'm with you. Brunson would be my absolute fantastic play. I don't even mind him if Luka plays. He's just been on fire. Very underrated guy, just a very sound fundamental player. So I don't mind Brunson. I don't mind some THJ either. Just know that when he's hot and if Doncic's out, the usage will come his way. He will have the shot attempts. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And he has a fantastic price tag for the circumstances. So I definitely look at those. Wouldn't mind if you wanted to play KP. 8,200, it's a fair price tag for him if he's going to get that usage with no Doncic. I don't mind him whatsoever. It's gonna be a cakewalk matchup for him. I just don't see, unless they decide to try to put Horford on them, and then what are they going to do in the paint necessarily? I just don't see it. Maybe do they try running Roby? I don't think Baisley can even remotely get high enough to get over a 7'3" guy's jump shot, but we'll have to wait and see on that. It's a fantastic matchup. It's just going to be tough. I think just going towards these guards, getting the value with them is probably the way to go, the most effective way, and then spending up on some of these other guys that we've been harping on. Ready to move on to the last two games?
Yeah, man, we are going.
We're cooking, man. 46 minutes. We are cooking. 10 games. What's that slowing down? Golden State Warriors traveling to Portland, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time game. This is going to be a fun one. We'd love to see these Bay Area showdowns between these two teams. For the Warriors, just the major guys, Klay Thompson, Marquise Chris. Obviously, we know what's going on with those guys. But for Portland, it's going to be CJ, Giles, Zach Collins, and Yusuf Nurkic. Pretty much the same bodies for them as well. No game total, no spread here. For the Warriors, I'll lead it off here. Steph Curry, love him. Fantastic play, 9,900. It's between him and LaMelo. I want to get two studs in my lineup tonight. I want one of them to be Harden. I want the other one to either be LaMelo or Steph Curry. I want to have one of these two guys, and it's going to be tough for me to end up making my decision. I'll probably end up just leaning Steph, but we'll have to see on that one. He's a fantastic spot, knowing that this is going to be a shootout. It should be a high-scoring game. It should be a competitive game. Steph Curry's averaging 60 DK points against this team in 2 games this season, so I don't think I really need to go too much. Wouldn't mind looking at Draymond either at 7,400. A little bit of the appeal gets taken away, knowing that he's been dealing with a little bit of injuries, dealing with some nagging ankle injuries. He practiced in full. That being said, 74, fair price. I don't know, man. I can't make my decision up on Draymond. I'll pass it over to you on the Draymond call. How do you feel for it? 74, I love the matchup. I love the spot. I just don't know if I could trust that he's fully 100% healthy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love Draymond. I was harping on this guy before the season started, saying he's going to have a bounce back season, and he didn't have a great start to the season, but he's really been turning out recently. Just a high IQ basketball player. I just love watching him play. He knows the game inside and out, so I love him. But I'm not going there in DFS. If that's the question, that seemed to be the question. So not going to him tonight in DK. But Steph Curry, he said it. I don't need to add anything but 9,900. Go in there 100%. I'm locking him over Melo probably 99 out of 100 times. That's just me. Don't mind if you go to the Melo play either. Andrew Wiggins, 6,200. I think he's a great GPP pivot here. He's had some a string of pretty mediocre games recently, but this is just a great matchup against a backcourt that doesn't play a lot of defense in the Portland Trailblazers. So I like Andrew Wiggins at 6,200 as a GPP play a lot.
All right. I can't knock you. And he's been elite defensively. Talking about, guys transforming their game. We talked about Lonzo getting that 3-point shot. Andrew Wiggins developing defense is just as impressive. Dude has been putting the clamps on people all season long. So I don't mind looking over there if you wanted to go there either. That's it for me, though. It's probably just going to be the two top dogs where I have most of my exposure. On to the Portland side. Damian Lillard, 10-6. Won't be playing him. Just got to cross some of these guys out of our player pool, and I've already touched on too many expensive guys. I prefer, spending $700 less on Curry. I actually even prefer, I think, LaMelo over him for $1,400 cheaper. Outside of him, Covington's been on an absolute tear ever since he's been kind of getting that role that he used to have when he was playing with Houston. Playing that primary power forward position, also getting some backup 5 as well. So as long as he's in that role, he should continue to thrive. It's a great matchup for him, 6K. Don't mind it whatsoever. And then, can we chase that Melo game? Was it just, a Melo on Melo action that allowed that? Or could we expect like similar shot attempts and all that good stuff at 5,400 in this matchup?
It was all the millennials telling the Generation Zers who the real Melo was. That's what it was. He did it for all of us. No, I don't. No, I'm not chasing the Melo game. I like Carmelo Anthony. I think he's a fine player. I'm not chasing that game at all. I'm actually not even going to play. I don't like Covington here either. I think he, if he does start going off, he's going to draw the Draymond Green defense. And I just think he gets a lot of his scoring from the perimeter, and I just think the Warriors can stop that. They are capable of switching and guarding that. And so I'm not big on Covington. I don't mind the play, but just not big there at the price that he's at. But the play I do like that you didn't mention, a couple of them actually. Enes Kanter, 7,500. I don't love the price, but Kanter, he should be safe to hit value because this outside of Wiseman, this Warriors team doesn't have really any solid centers and anyone that can really stop someone that really aggressively hits the boards like Kanter does. So 7,500 for Kanter. I'll pay that premium price for him because it's just safe. So for cash games, I like that. Gary Trent Jr., 5,300. Not great for GPPs just because he doesn't contribute in any way outside of scoring, but he's just solid for cash. I think 5,300 is a fair price tag. He's another guy that's a few $100s cheaper than those $5,700 guys that's still got a very decent role on his team and still going to produce value. So those are the two guys that I would be looking at.
I don't mind Trent Jr. in GPPs. I think you touched on it. He's just a sharpshooter. Most of his shots are going to come from deep, but when he's hot, he's going to be able to take down a tournament. It's that simple, Don't trust him in cash, but definitely there for tournaments. I don't mind Kanter whatsoever. I think you touched on a great matchup and all that good stuff. It's just, again, push comes to shove. 7,500, a little expensive for him compared to some of these other guys that we've touched on. A few of those guys in that mid-5 to low-6 range. That's probably where I'm going to end up spending my money on this slate. Still a little too early to tell, but final game of the night, LA Lakers traveling to Sacramento, taking on the white-hot Kings. I don't know if you could sense the sarcasm in there. The Kings have been struggling. No injury report for the Lakers right now, as we know. Second half of a back-to-back. And then for the Kings, Tyrese Halliburton, he's ruled out. Probably going to miss up until the All-Star break. I think they said the next 2 games. Buddy Hield, questionable. And Hassan Whiteside is still in the health and safety protocols, as well as Jabari Parker. But Jabari Parker is actually questionable. So, not that matters. Just pass it over to you for the Lakers.
Yeah, for the Lakers, Kuzma, I know he was rolled out last night, so we have to keep an eye on that and just see what's going on there. If he does sit, he doesn't play again in this game, then I like Taylon Horton Tucker a lot, 3,400. I know it's kind of weird to say, if this big forward sits, I like this guard/forward guy. A little bit strange to go that route, but it seems to be that's who gets the usage when Kuzma's out, and AD's obviously out, so there's plenty of usage to go around. Taylon Horton Tucker is only 3,400, so this is a nice price point for somebody that's been consistently putting up 20 DK points anyways. If he gets more of that usage, then he's going to surpass that for sure. And then LeBron James, 10-5, probably the safest play on the slate, I would think. Without Anthony Davis, it's pretty simple. Just play this guy. I mean, the blowout potential is there with the Kings. I don't think they will, though. I don't think it's going to happen. The Lakers aren't necessarily playing great basketball. So 10-5 for LeBron James. I'll pay that all day. Probably go Harden and James. I don't know, maybe 50-50 there. I'm not sure between those two. Probably more so James just because he's 10-5 as opposed to 11 for Harden. But Harden probably has the bigger upside, in my opinion. The other guy I look at here is Montrezl Harrell, 5,500. He's going to be a fantastic play as long as Marcus Gasol's out, and he's got that expander role. So that's a really good price tag for him. So Horton, Tucker, Harrell, and James are the three guys I'm looking at.
Love all those guys as well. Probably won't end up as much with LeBron just because I already touched on it. Other guys. Boom, boom. But I absolutely do love some Harrell. I'm expecting some big things out of him with no Marcus Gasol. And I believe the new addition, Damian Jones, was also questionable. I didn't see if he ended up playing in tonight's game or not. But that's another guy that is worth monitoring. Another body that would be out as well. And then the only other guy you didn't touch on that I think I have some fair amount of interest in would be Dennis Schroeder. Just knowing that a lot of this offense is going to have to keep flowing through this guy. Really a point guard, but I'm going to count him as a shooting guard because we know that LeBron's going to handle the ball a lot more as well. So LeBron brings the ball up. I want my shooting guards going against the Kings. It's my thing. So it's not ideal. It's not my ideal feeling. Like, this is a shooting guard going against the Kings. But in my mind, I'm justifying it right now. That's what I'm doing, Keith. I'm justifying that LeBron's pretty much bringing the ball up. He's playing point. Schroeder's, playing off ball. Yeah, it's a shooting guard to me. I'll count that. So I'll look at him at 5,900. I don't mind him whatsoever either. Kings side of the ball. For me, not loving a whole lot here. De'Aaron Fox getting priced up out of the point where I could even play him anymore until he gets back down. Just a little bit too much. Harrison Barnes, almost the same thing. He's been playing great all season long at 7K. Won't do it. The one guy I can maybe see myself having a couple shares of, and, outside of if Buddy Hield gets ruled out, then we obviously see some minutes open up on the wings for guys like, Corey Joseph. It just might be like Marvin Bagley, man. And it feels weird saying it. But the minutes have been up for him. Played a whopping 35 minutes in that game against Charlotte. It was a tight one. 24-10 game, but yeah, I don't, even now that I'm saying it doesn't feel good. I don't think I'm playing any of these Kings, man. I'm taking that back. It just feels gross.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you. I'm gonna do everyone a favor and not play Marvin Bagley because for whatever reason, whenever I play this guy, he puts up the biggest dud of the year. So there you go. Congratulations, everybody that does play Marvin Bagley. I'm not gonna play him, but I don't think it's a bad play though. 6,600, a little pricey. Probably not gonna go there. I don't think you have to on a 10-game slate. I throw in Rashawn Holmes too. 6,500. The Montrezl Harrell isn't necessarily the best defender in the world. And, so I think he's got room to work at 6,500. But, yeah, like you said, I'm probably not playing any of these guys. Unless Hield is ruled out, then I'll definitely play some Corey Joseph at 3,400. Just a really great price tag. And you touched on that a little bit, too. So right there with you.
Yeah, he's a solid value. I don't mind him. He's so ugly. He's so underwhelming. I hate watching that guy play basketball. It's just painful sometimes. Not the old Spurs Corey Joseph I used to remember. All right, man. That rounds us home. Takes us home. Rounds us out. I combined them. It's all good. But anything else you want to say before I close this out of here?
No, man. Just everyone get that DFS pass. I know we've been having some discussions in the Discord about some really important things. People playing DFS every day, and some people feeling burnt out and stuff like that. And on top of staying on top of all the news, it's just a community that we're building there, and it's something that if you have issues like that, you have somewhere to go to and talk that stuff out with, and people that are like-minded with you. So DFS Pass, it's cheap. Go get it. Come hang out with me and all the cool people up in that Discord. And that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. Some cool peeps in there. And if you want, I suggest it, give Keith a follow. Keith, I'm going to give this a shot. At Ginsburg Beats. G1NSBERG B3 ATS.
Oof. You're the man.
Did I get it?
You're the man. You got it.
I was looking right at my phone, man. I can't pretend like I knew that off the top of my head. And you can find me at Micapotria, MIKEAPOTRIA. Give us a follow. Hit us up with any of your questions, guys. Like we said, easiest way to get at us, though, is in that Discord. And that's it. thumbs up, rate, review, subscribe, hit the notification, all that good stuff wherever you listen to us. Means the world to us. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be on with Santino Caccone. So you can imagine the show will probably be off the rails in the first 12 minutes. But thank you guys for tuning in. Take care, everybody. Let's go take down some tournaments.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.